Hello and welcome to TV on TV. I'm State Representative Tommy Vitolo. You're watching Brookline Interactive Group. Today is Thursday, June 26th, and we have a great show for you today. We have none other than the director of the Brookline Teen Center, Emily Williams. New to the job, not new to the life. We're going to have a great conversation with her in just a few minutes. But as always on TV, we begin with the news. United States President Donald Trump announced a ceasefire between Israel and Iran after missile strikes by both countries. The deal appears to be very fragile, with both countries claiming the other has already breached the agreement. Debate continues over what should be included in the Republican mega bill, with the Senate parliamentarian throwing out provisions including eliminating funding for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, repealing authorizations for Inflation Reduction Act programs, and reining in the ability of the judiciary. The New York City Democratic primary for mayor, held this past Tuesday, saw Democratic Socialist Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani emerge victorious. Due to the vagaries of New York City electoral politics, his win in the general election is no sure thing. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey has tapped venture capitalist Eric Paley, managing partner at Founder Collective, to serve as the state's next Secretary of Economic Development. UMass Chan Medical School Chancellor Dr. Michael Collins announced he will step down in about a year after almost 2 decades leading the school. Education Secretary Patrick Tutwiler sent a letter to Holyoke's mayor informing that the state would return control of the school district to the city after it had been in receivership since 2015. A group of Brookline parents have launched a new coalition trying to avoid the mental health and developmental problems associated with smartphones and social media in their children. The MBTA is slated to begin construction on the Green Line C branch platforms as early as September. The project aims to elevate and widen platforms to comply with the 1990 Americans with Disabilities Act. Staff at the Coolidge Corner Theater have begun collecting signatures for a pledge drive to gauge public support for a potential boycott of the theater. This comes after staff have been negotiating a contract for the last 9 months with theater leadership. Folks, that's all the news that fits in the time. We're going to hop on over to a pre-recorded interview with Emily Williams, director of the Brookline Senior Center. So stay tuned on TV right here on Brookline Interactive Group. And welcome back to TV right here on Brookline Interactive Group. Today we have a great guest. We have Emily Williams, who is the queen of the Senior Center. Specifically, she is the director of the Council on Aging and Senior Center. Importantly, she's the boss of the Senior Center, and we're going to get to know her. Emily, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So I know that you're new to the Brookline Senior Center, but you're not new to the space. And so lots of folks in Brookline have not met you yet. Tell us what you've been doing your whole life.
My whole life, my goodness. Well, in my career, I'll start there. That's because it's so important to me to help others. Started when I was 15 years old. So I was a youngster growing up in a little town, South Windsor, Connecticut. And I rode my bike every day on the weekends to the local nursing home because that's what my mom and dad told me to do. So I listened diligently. And I delivered ice to the seniors. And one of the seniors who was an older man who was bedbound, retired veteran, I believe he was in the Army. He was a good Samaritan, great career. He was lonely and he was so sad and he couldn't get up without the assistance of the local CNAs. So I would bring him water on the weekends and brighten his day. And he said, "You bring me sunshine." And that inspired me to do better and bigger things. I've had a whole career of volunteering at the local food pantry, and I have 2 beautiful children who I've instilled that in as well, because that's a good thing. You always want to support the community that you're living in. So I went to school to study what does it look like to be an older adult in America, and I learned it's not so good. So there were tons of issues that I read about, wrote about, studied, analyzed data, all kinds of fun stuff, and decided this is the career that I want to be in. And, went to grad school and have my master's in gerontology, and then just dove right into the world of aging. And I've been doing that for the past 20 plus years. I can't believe it. It's like it goes by so quickly. But I started in, actually, I was down in DC, and I was working in a law firm and just realizing that there was just so many injustices in the world, not just with older adults, but also in funding. So I kind of grasped, what does the funding piece look like? And then I came back to Boston because that's where I belong. I decided, met my husband, and we live in Quincy, Mass. We've been there a long time, and really just decided to continue and grow and kind of walk up the career ladder in the field of aging in nonprofit. That's what my background is in. And then someone said to me, well, why don't you try municipal government? And so I did. And I left the nonprofit world about 7 years ago and worked for the beautiful community college town of Bridgewater um, all throughout the pandemic. I started municipal government in the Council on Aging down there, and then had to close the senior center down and support the community where they were at, and they were not at the senior center. So it's been an incredible journey and keeps me on my toes for sure, because every day you have to pivot and try something new, and every day is different.
So you're here, you're at the senior center, what, like a month now, 6 weeks?
2 months, 8 weeks, lucky
Eight
number eight.
weeks, 8 weeks. How's it going?
It's awesome. It's awesome. I have the best team. We're a large community. We have a fantastic staff, many of who have been here for many, many years, and some who have not been here that long. So we've got diversity, creativity, enthusiasm, and everybody has the same goal where they just want to serve the community, inside the senior center, at their home during the home visits, local libraries, community space. We've been doing a lot of education on what kind of services and supports we offer. And just like a senior center, every day is different with our activities. We have almost 20 activities on a daily basis. And we don't do bingo. We have active participants. So we have active programming, mentally active, physically, spiritually. Everyone's active in different capacities, and we listen to them very closely before and after each program to see, how can we improve? What do you like to do? One woman sent me an email and she said she loves our ASL classes. And I said, what else do you like? She said, classical music. And I said, oh my God, we're going to plan a trip to the symphony, so all that feedback is just so necessary to kind of keep us going and create more different, diverse programming.
So it sounds like, you when you arrived to is it fair to say a well-functioning senior center?
Beautiful. The building, the people. Ruth Ann Dobeck was the woman, the brains, the brawn who built this building. And she did it with a group of invested residents in the area and they've just continued this tradition of serving the community. And it's such a reflection on the town of Brookline itself. To have a thriving senior center shows the community that we're a thriving place to be, to live, to age, to stay put kind of thing, whether you're alone or in a senior living residence or even in long-term care. I think Brookline's where it's at because we offer such great places to be active.
So you talked a little bit about some things that are kind of some of the programming at the senior center, but if possible, I'd like you to give us more. I know that there's a lot that's going on in the senior center, and I've said this before. I think, it's a funny way to say it, but I think in practice, seniors are our most diverse community. I'm not talking necessarily about skin color, but the fact of the matter is the range in physical ability, the range in cognitive ability, right? The range of interests of seniors is dramatically broad. Um, and they all have things to offer. They all have needs. They all have interests, and they're all showing up at the senior center. So you said there's no bingo. I like bingo, but there's no bingo. You talked about a few things. Tell us a little more about sort of the breadth of programming, both for the seniors who watch the show, who maybe are going to finally figure out they got to wander down the street to the senior center, and for the rest of us who care about our community, even the parts that we're not engaging in right now. What else is going on at the senior center?
My goodness. Well, it depends on the day and the hour because if you want to start your day right, you come in, grab the globe and a cup of coffee, sit in the lounge. Just, like you said, walk down the street. If you can't walk down the street, we have two great van drivers and two great vans, so we can come get you and bring you here wherever you live in the town, South Brookline, the village, wherever. Um, and then you can have a fitness class. Stay well, stay healthy, stay active, get that heart pumping. It reduces your cholesterol and improves the mindset. Whether you're doing an activity in your chair, standing up, down on the floor on a yoga mat, doesn't matter. It's important to stay active. And if fitness isn't your thing, it's okay. Coffee in the Globe, a great book. You can take a book out from our little library downstairs. You can come play chess, play a board game with the Ivy School. We've got a lot of intergenerational programming here, and we'll be working on some with the Ridley School. I anticipate that to happen next year, so it's a little secret, more to come. Um, Lots of different things for all walks of life too. Whether you're a young senior and you just retired, we always advise people go in it with a plan. Like you're going to have a new purpose. You're going to have to fill 300 hours a month of your time doing something, and it shouldn't be on the couch because then your health will decline, you'll be lonely and isolated and just, you know, not good for the brain. What we always want people to do is to call us. When, especially if you're, again, like I mentioned, you're going to retire, you have to fill your days with something to do. Volunteering is a great way to do that. Give back your time to the community. We can match you. We have a new program. Sharon, one of our social workers, she has a new program where she takes volunteers of all ages, really, trains them on how to be companions to seniors in the community who may be a little more homebound than they'd like to be. And they don't want to come to the senior center. So we go to the individuals' homes too, keep them active and engaged and make connections, which is such a big part of aging in and of itself. As we get older, sometimes we lose our long-term connections, or our adult children are in the career world and they have grandkids that they're trying to raise. So there's a little less time for us as we get older. So what we want to do is give those individuals purpose and to give them a way to stay connected to their community. And it could be volunteering. It could be coming to one of our programs. We have a fantastic tax work-off program in town for any homeowner age 60 plus or a renter who wants to work at the senior center or one of the other town departments and to reduce their taxes, which is a statewide program that just is a lifesaver to some of our participants. Every day we offer lunch. One of our community partners out in Waltham, they're called Springwell. They're a nonprofit. They are fantastic to work with because they offer all kinds of different services from home care to companionship to transportation to meals. If you want to sign up for Meals on Wheels, you can give them a call. If you don't want to have something delivered to your house, you can come here. We offer a lunch every day, grab and go, or you can sit and enjoy Christina's company. She's our congregate lunch supervisor, and she's amazing. She is also a Brookline resident, so she may be your neighbor, and we have lots of space for that. One of our goals for the future is to create food-based programming because food insecurity, I mean, I don't know about you, but I go to the grocery store now and I spend at least $5 to $7 on a loaf of bread. It wasn't always that way a couple of years ago. So what we want to do is to train individuals living alone, solo agers, to have better prepared food for themselves, better prepared meals, especially if you're on a fixed income, you know, and you want to try something new, like making a nice healthy lunch for yourself, whether it be opening up a can of tuna with some mayonnaise and celery instead of that can of soup that's super high in sodium. You know, there's different ways to look at eating well and maybe cooking something for your neighbor kind of thing. We want to have individuals in town, living alone, living with their spouse, living with friends, or in a community type setting to know about us because we really have such diversity in our activities and services. I mean, not everything is here. Another example that we're working on as one of our short and long-term goals is to team up with the library and the teen center. Those are great places that are not in this neighborhood, not in the Coolidge Corner area, that have community space and have people going there that we can partner with to do some activities, like the Putterham Library, for example. They've got this amazing Wisdom Cafe every month where they have yoga or some kind of a book club. And that is an example of how we can publicize their materials, but then provide ideas and possible speakers on more programming. A lot of what's been going on across the industry is memory loss since the pandemic hit because people were almost like forced to stay in their home. And what we've learned is that the 20 somethings in our community, as well as the older adults, they're technically the loneliest populations out there right now. And it's heartbreaking when you think about it. So what we're going to be doing is to do some pen pal programs, to do some intergenerational partnerships to try to build those connections because if you do like a Venn diagram, the overlap of both of those populations is incredible when you take the mentorship from an older person, the wise older adult, and then the young tech savvy individual, and you team them up. It's just eye-opening how their mental health improves, their ability to communicate improves, they get their smile back. It's pretty amazing when you witness something like that.
So, with all this going on at the senior center, I get that there's sort of, you alluded to it a little bit. Are you bursting at the seams?
Yes. So I've been here 8 weeks and I pop in to, I try to see every single program just to introduce myself, get to meet others and see how the program is. And sometimes I tell you, Tom, it's everybody is so tight in their rooms. I mean, even the fitness classes where you need space to spread out and not bump into somebody, busting at the seams is a great visual. I know Ruth Ann Dobek, the previous director, almost like the founder of the senior center, her and I talk about this staircase analogy and how it's happening again in this, modernization of senior centers across the country, really. If you don't have a building um, to meet the needs, the ratio they say is 5 square feet per senior in town. And if that's the case, we'll need 60,000 square feet for a building, and we've got 20,000 square feet. So that's a visual in and of itself to be able to meet the capacity of the seniors in town. But her and I talk about this staircase analogy because this was built without any parking, working on that, in a beautiful area where the size or the number of seniors in town wasn't 12,000. And now we're at 12,000, but if you project 10 years out, it's going to be almost 20,000 seniors. So we're going to need another spot to meet and hang out together. So that's one thing that's on my mind. I'm not there yet. I always go into a new position. The first 90 days are listening and learning from others. So I'm gathering all kinds of input from the community, from our stakeholders, community partners, and just to try to get an idea of what does that look like? Does it look like at the Fisher Hill Estate? The old Newberry College, great space for the community. Does it look like mini satellites at our libraries? I'm not there yet, but I'll get there. But if anybody has any ideas, I'd love to have them to listen.
So part of it is the square footage, but even if you had the square footage, what about staffing? What about having the professionals there necessary? If you're doing more programming, you need more people developing the programming as well as providing the programming, right? Where are you in terms of staffing and being ready for that kind of growth?
So part of that is such a great question because you're right. As the programs need to be increased, so do our staff. There's a very large concern for the mental health needs in our community. Happy happiness is a thing that's kind of lacking. So as we grow, we'll need more social work staff. We'll need more program staff. We may need more food and nutrition staff, as well as tech support staff. You know, as the space grows, the community grows, the staffing structure and activities will grow, but we need somebody to look at that. So we're going to be working with actually my alma mater, UMass Boston. The Gerontology Institute is going to be working with us on developing a needs assessment community survey. So they'll be talking with, caregivers in town who are taking care of loved ones who are age 60 plus. They'll be interviewing with numerous stakeholder groups and focus groups around town, older adults themselves, to say, what are your interests? And this entire report will develop a plan, but we're going to need everybody to be on board and come to the table to fill out this survey. So I anticipate in the fall, so right around the corner, that we'll be having these focus groups and a survey mailed to folks in town. What that looks like is to be determined, because Brookline is such a unique place to live. We're not the largest town, but we're close to it. And how we design and develop and then distribute the surveys will be a work in progress.
So you talked about the survey, and I'm sure, the survey will help guide this answer, and you continue to listen. I'm sure that will help guide this answer. But I know, like, you got some of your own ideas too, right? So what are you thinking, like, what's on the horizon? What are some tangible things that maybe exist in other places, or maybe now is the right time for Brookline where it wasn't the right time 10 years ago? What are some things we can say, oh, 5 years from now, something's going to happen. And I want somebody to say, I knew that was going to happen because I saw it on TV back in 2025. What are those things? What's coming?
Well, I mentioned one of our pain points is parking. There's no parking lot at the senior center here. There's street parking for 2 hours. We have 2 handicap spots and a half moon shaped parking, drop off spot that's constantly being used for people to park for just a minute. They come in just for a minute to get their lunch and then go. Or they come, they drop off their loved one, and then they go. Constantly busy. A lot of folks who come here do walk because they live locally. A lot of folks don't come here because they either don't walk or they can't get here, or our van is not available at that time, kind of thing. So as I'm doing my own personal needs assessment, is talking to individuals to say, well, what can we do about this? And there's such a beautiful story unfolding that I'm learning, right? So we've got everybody at the table. We've got transportation experts. We've got walkability experts. We've got bike experts, not the motorcycles, which I saw a woman the other day on a cherry apple red motorcycle with her helmet, a senior, just awesome to view down the street. We have some of those folks coming here. But what I'm learning is we really need a senior sticker in town. Something to stick right on your car that allows you to park in this area for more than 2 hours. And this would be for a small fee. The city of Newton actually offers that. Many surrounding areas offer a senior parking sticker, and it would give them the flexibility to come here, to park here, come here for more than 2 hours, because they want to come, sit down, have a cup of coffee, read the Globe, visit with their friends, go to fitness or not, and then do an activity and then stay for lunch. But you can't do that because you'd have to move your car, otherwise you get a parking ticket. And we want to have some kind of a decal that says, no, not labeling somebody as a senior, because that could pose problems, but to have them park in this area for more than 2 hours at a time. And maybe we can post another handicapped accessible. I'm looking out my window here, looking to have another handicap spot, because we do have many folks who come here together. They want to be together, and they have that decal already, but there's not a place for them to park because they're all full all day long. I did learn that there was parking on the opposite side of Winchester Street back in the day, and it slowed down traffic, which was great because it's a very busy area around here. You know, we run parallel to Harvard Street, which is a very busy street as well. I think as Brookline is growing, there needs to be some kind of a better way to get around for older adults. And I think this could, you know, support that in a very easy lift. Like it's not expensive to incorporate, and it would be kind of a great way to look to modernize and provide more accessibility for our older adults in town.
You say it's an easy lift. I say you're new here.
I've heard that
Um,
before, but I'm determined.
well, I'm sure that the senior center and the neighborhood and all these experts will figure out something. Exactly what that looks like remains to be seen. Um, you mentioned the vans. I know that the Brookline Recreation Department has some vans. I know the teen center has like a little minibus they're trying to get going. I even know that, in fact, there is an MIT co-ed fraternity on St. Paul Street that has a van that drives back and forth to MIT all day for their students. And that's on top of all of the LMA hospital private transportation that's running around. It seems like there's an opportunity for something that's not MBTA, but could maybe scratch a lot of different itches with a lot of different kinds of people on the same transportation system. Is that the kind of thing that might be helpful to the senior center also?
For sure. Intergenerational rides is a great way to reduce loneliness and get around town. It provides such accessibility to an affordable grocery store or to pick up your prescriptions or to pick up prescriptions for your neighbor. But what that looks like is so clear. Just as you mentioned, bringing all of these vehicles together in a micro transit could be a very appropriate solution. I actually worked with our local university down in the town of Bridgewater State, fantastic university, great social work department, computer science, cybersecurity, wonderful programs. But they had a need to transport their students to internships. So we had a conversation with the president's office, identified the needs, came together, got some funding, state, local, and federal, and it worked. And we had two vehicles zipping and zapping all over town within a certain geofence, bringing the students to their internships, bringing them to the Market Basket affordable grocery store, bringing folks to the senior center whenever they wanted to. Like Joe Coughlin from the MIT Age Lab, he once wrote an article. He said, if you want an ice cream cone, you should be able to get an ice cream cone. You don't have to plan for it 2 days in advance. You want an ice cream cone, just go on your smartphone through a web-based, or if you don't use a smartphone, call us or call a GoGo grandparent or one of our partners that we use for transportation and book your ride. Go get an ice cream cone and get an extra one for your friend, maybe, kind of thing. And that's all about when you think about it, it's a social justice issue about dignity and respect for our older adult population, but also for people with disabilities across the aging lifespan. And it just makes sense. But one thing I'll be working on is getting everybody around the table to talk about these issues and then develop a solution, maybe with our surrounding communities. Microtransit is expensive, but when you diversify the funding sources, it's not. And it's affordable too, which is even better. So everybody can hop on and off as they please.
It sounds like there's lots of things brewing, but also lots of things happening now at our senior center. Emily, I want to thank you for coming on the show. We're out of time. The time always goes fast here on TV. But thank you for spending some time with us, folks. We just had a great conversation with Emily Williams, the director of the Council on Aging and Senior Center. We're so glad you're in town. We're so glad you're working with us on all of these issues, and look forward to seeing you at the Senior Center or around town.
Thank you. I'm so excited. We'll see you again.
Talk soon.
Take care.